In a galaxy far, far away, the planet's inhabitants make a huge fuss at a trial. But as soon as the High Tribunal convened, they quickly calmed that shit down. The tribunal claims that never before has so many of their kind put aside their differences to come together to pursue a single goal. But they also add that never before has there been a crime so fucked up and so vast that it had the power to unite them in grief and disgust. Hoping to seek justice, the tribunal asks if the accused is present, but the prosecutor tells them they have yet to secure him. That said, the tribunal then turns towards the Manhunters to bring back the accused murderer, known as the Green Lantern John Stewart, from Earth. Flash was trying to rizz up Hawkgirl at the watchtower when the alarm suddenly went off as the scanner detected unidentified flying objects headed for Earth. Martian Manhunter takes Flash and Hawkgirl to check it out, and explains that Wonder Woman is handling another case while Superman is busy handling an earthquake. As the Manhunters approach the town where John is, the Justice League quickly confronts them and orders them to stop. When they insist on taking back John with them, Hawkgirl attacks them, but the Manhunter throws her away, to which Flash runs to catch her. When John tries to attack them, the Manhunters pull out their weapons, proving effective even against Martian Manhunter. Hawkgirl jumps back into battle, but the Manhunters overpower her despite her tenacity. They even manage to take down the Flash, going at top speeds. When the Manhunters are about to finish off Hawkgirl, Superman arrives and rams one of them against a wall. One of the Manhunters attacks Superman from behind, to which he then breaks their weapon. When a Manhunter attacks Superman and Flash from behind, John leaps and saves them, but the enemy stands back up and throws a car at them. Superman catches the vehicle before it explodes, preventing civilians from being caught in their fighting. John overhears the explosion from a distance and quickly flies out to check on it. John arrives and breaks the fighting, with both sides raring to go at each other. Just when they thought they had the Green Lantern joining them, John walks up to the Manhunters and willingly surrenders his ring. They then quickly put him in cuffs, and Light quickly beamed them up elsewhere, much to everyone's shock. Later, John is taken to a Juris 5, where he will face trial for charges against him. Given the public's opinion, he appears to be facing serious allegations, to which the Green Lantern Corps turned its back on him. Even the Guardians of Oa are greatly troubled by the turn of events and strongly hope that this case won't require their attention. They explain that given the circumstances, they are prepared to make the necessary sacrifices should it come to that. John later greets his colleagues in the Green Lantern Corps, but they coldly brush him off, having lost all respect for him. The Manhunters then escort him to his cell to await his time to present himself in court. Meanwhile, John uses his telepathic powers to reach into John's mind and discover where he is being held. The Justice League quickly flies out to find out what happened, but when they arrive at a Juris 5, they are quickly met with hostility as the planet's defense forces shoot at them. Leaving Flash to pilot the Javelin, Superman, John, and Hawkgirl fly out to stop their pursuers. When Hawkgirl goes overboard and nearly destroys one of the ships, Superman is forced to carry it back to land, worried that their actions may start a war. Although challenging, the Justice League focused on taking out their ships and weapons rather than attacking them head-on. Back at the trial, the prosecutor lays it thick and demands the tribunal swiftly judge the case. Before they could pass the sentence, the Justice League arrives and interrupts the proceedings. Realizing they intend not to harm, the tribunal allows them to sit in during the proceedings. For the prosecution's first witness, they call in the pirate Kanjar Ro, who claims that despite being a criminal, it was nothing compared to what John did. He shows his memories to everyone at the trial and tells them how he first met John. Back then, Kanjaro admits to being on his way to selling blasters he supposedly found to rebels on a Juris 4, when John came upon him. John quickly forced his ship to crash, using his ring's powers to remove the ship's engine. Kanjaro claims that John started firing first and was merely defending himself. After crashing on the moon's surface, John supposedly insisted on interrogating him when his friends arrived at his rescue. John tried to fight back, but his attacks bounced off the ship's deflector shields and shot a Juris 4. His attack hit the volcanic fault line, which later started a devastating chain reaction that caused the planet's destruction. Kanjaro claims that John was responsible for the loss of 3 billion lives. When the trial went on recess, the Justice League confronts John, who claims to have understood why he never fought back as he wanted to clear his name, but John insists that he did it. Hearing John admit to it, Superman is still skeptical and decides to check things out with John. He then asks Flash and Hawkgirl to buy them time while they investigate the incident. When Kanjaro overhears their conversation, he is later seen talking to a manhunter on the sketchy side of the town. When it was John's turn to defend himself, he pleaded guilty and refused to give any statement, shocking everyone. Flash cries out in an outburst and tries to help his friend, but even John tells him not to get involved. When Flash claims that they should hear from both sides, the tribunal asks him who would speak on his behalf. Despite learning that he would be sharing the same penalty as John if he failed, Flash still agrees to defend him despite the overwhelming odds. While Flash makes a fool of himself trying to buy them time, Hawkgirl discovers that the Green Lantern Corps has already left the hearing. She later finds them at a bar, dissing poor John, which irked her. When she flaunts their weak loyalty towards each other, Arcus stands up to her and accepts her challenge. Even unarmed and outnumbered, Hawkgirl proves to everyone that she can handle herself as she beats up the rest of the Green Lantern Corps single-handedly. When he has seen enough, Kilowog breaks their fighting and admits he was wrong to turn their back on a friend. Meanwhile, Superman and John arrive at the scene and quickly realize something is amiss. Superman points out that the moon continues to orbit a planet that supposedly doesn't exist anymore, and suspects there must be something more to it. John later finds an odd-looking device, which he calls an Elusitron, capable of projecting crude images over objects and even empty spaces. They are suddenly under attack by Kanjaro, who plans to bury them with the evidence. Little did he realize that Hawkgirl followed him when he was acting suspiciously after she saw him talk to one of the manhunters. Superman and John came out unscathed and took out Kanjaro before his ship exploded from the attack. At the trial, Kilowog returns and speaks up on his friend's behalf, discussing John's redeeming qualities and how he saved him. Despite the moving story he shared, the prosecutor turns on him and asks him who gives him the right to act as judge, jury, and executioner. When Kilowog is at a loss for words, the Guardians suddenly show up and explain how they were the ones who gave them the authority. The Guardians then come up and give their defense on behalf of John. Having heard from both sides, the tribunal quickly reconvened and delivered its decision. Despite their efforts, the tribunal still finds John guilty of mass genocide and sentences him to death, to which Flash would share the same fate. While Flash tries to resist, John tells him to man up and accept the consequences, as he was already warned of before he got involved. That said, the guards forced them to enter a forced enclosure, where they were then gassed until they passed out. Later, Superman and John arrive with Kanjaro with them as witnesses. He then breaks out John and Flash from the enclosure seconds before they pass out. He then gives Hawkgirl the signal to destroy the device they found on the moon, quickly destroying the illusion cast on the planet. This revealed that a Juris 4, which was reportedly destroyed, was actually where it was always. Superman claims that everything was just an illusion to frame up John as part of a sinister plan. John furiously lunges at Kanjaro and asks him why he framed him up, which he reveals was paid to do so by the Manhunters. When Superman notices that the Guardians are acting suspiciously, he and the others quickly confront them. After revealing the Manhunters' plans, the Guardians promptly sought to return to Oa. When John asks them where the Manhunters are, the Guardians claim they must have already returned to Oa, which surprised him. They reveal that the Manhunters were their creation long before the Green Lantern Corps, originally intended as peacekeepers. The Guardians later realized their mistake when robots couldn't understand the subtle gradations between good and evil. Instead of decommissioning them, they decided to reprogram the Manhunters for lesser duties: tracking, hunting, and even guarding. Meanwhile, the Manhunters meet secretly where their leader informs them that they have successfully lured out the leader of their most hated enemy, the Guardians. After learning their enemy is here, their leader asks them to settle down and focus on their objective. Their leader then leads an all-out invasion of Oa, where the remaining Guardians struggle to maintain their defenses. When they thought they had successfully infiltrated Oa, the Justice League arrived with the Guardians. They quickly jumped into the battlefield and took them all out. When John struggles to hold their attackers, the rest of the Green Lantern Corps arrive and assist them. Meanwhile, the leader of the Manhunters breaks through the Guardians' barrier, but when John tries to confront him, he attacks him from behind. John tried to stop him, but the leader overpowered him and absorbed the giant battery that powers all of Oa and the Ring's power. He then grows into a giant, continuously absorbing the energy from everything, including the aura the Guardians emit. As he holds the weakened Guardians in his arms, John stands back up and chants the Green Lantern motto to willfully absorb the power from the leader and expunge him entirely before returning the power to Oa to recreate the battery. With the Manhunters defeated and power restored to Oa, the Guardians commend John and claim they chose wisely when offering him the ring. After the Guardians show their eternal gratitude to John for his help, he is later greeted by the Green Lantern Corps and seeks forgiveness for ever doubting him. He brushed them off and quickly thanked his friends who believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself. Flash claims that it's what friends do, to which John uses his powers and takes them home. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos, and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.